the shade because this is a sunny day. See, I'll just show you. Blue sky. Oh, nice. The sun was in my eyes. Okay, it's Monday, and there's a bunch of stuff. I did not work over the weekend. Just a tiny bit. I normally do the newsletter on Sunday because it's part of my routine. I've done it so long now that it just happens on Sunday, and I should actually change that so that I do it on Friday. It just feels more natural to do it Sunday. Just been doing it so long that way. But if I did it on Friday, it would give me a whole weekend. Okay, a couple things I want to talk about. So Closure Sync, I want to get all the videos out today. Not published, but edited and ready to transcribe. There's an issue I should discuss. I've been reading through the surveys. I got one over the weekend. I saw it this morning. And the issue is that someone cited the code of conduct in one of my speakers' talks, and so I need to go and review their, I guess I would call it an accusation, and respond to them, talk about how serious this is, and review the talk to see if it's true, because I did not catch it listening to the talk. And then, depending on the results of that, whether I can see the violation. It's true that if someone felt the violation, that is an important aspect of it. But if it was accidental, that's one thing. If it was a misunderstanding, maybe we can work it out, because, it's not like a dangerous thing now. It's all over. But if it is an actual violation, then I might not be able to publish the talk, and I will have to have a talk with the speaker about it. So I'm not looking forward to that, but I am looking forward. It's happening, so there's nothing I can do. I'm just going to have to. I'm looking forward to wrapping it up. It's not going to be a pleasant thing, but taking care of business can be pleasant when it's over. So that's unfortunate. So I do want to say the speaker definitely towed the line. They were close. And at certain points I was like, uh-oh, this is going to be one of those talks. But I might have been being generous, or because I know the speaker and have listened to their talks before. And I'm familiar with some of the issues they brought up, so I might just hear it differently from someone who isn't familiar with all of those things. And so, that's part of it, right? Is if part of the code of conduct is that if you are going to bring up those kinds of issues, you have to be super careful. And just from my own recollection of the talk, being there, listening to it live, I do think that they weren't that careful. So it's a real issue, and I'm gonna deal with it. And I guess now that it's over, I can't kick anybody out. I can't take it back, and I'm just gonna have to make an announcement about it. And worst case is just I can't invite that speaker back. Right? I'll make an announcement about it for sure, but I might not make invite that speaker back. So, anyway, yeah, that's on my mind. I want to get the talks edited. Over last week, Friday mostly, I figured out a way to, deal with the audio and frame everything up so that I have the whole stage and the area that people walked in and their slides on at the same time. And there's a little room left over to put their talk title and their the conference information, like disclosure sync, the logo, when and where it was. And I think it'll work for all of them. So I'll just have the same format for all of them, which will also add to the consistency. And it'll look nice, and people will, I'll be able to crank them out. On Friday, I was kind of figuring it out, and I just had no executive power anymore. I was just too tired, I guess. I could think about it and be like, maybe if I put this here, but then my hand would not make the motions. I was tired. So now, with the rest over the weekend, I am ready to hit that. And there's 10. Should be able to crank through them today. Friday, I also started doing the thing where I just talk into a similar thing like this, but about functional programming and my book topics, theory of functional programming. And that seems to work really well. I was surprised by how easily I could talk about the thing. Now, it is mostly what I talked about in Prague when I spoke there. So a lot of that is just that I've rehearsed it a couple times and then given it live. And also listened to myself. So, there's that. But there's a lot more that I couldn't go into, especially in depth in Prague. And so Friday night I made some notes and got some stuff ready to talk about. And the reason I like this approach is this video is so easy. I'm just holding my phone and sitting outside in a nice day and talking. I can talk all day. And I'm also writing a lot, and more technical writing, I feel like I need to write it. I can't just through the I don't know what I'm saying yet, and so I have this mindset I get into where I'm just writing and not focused on so much the style or anything like that, where I can really pick an audience, picture them in my mind, and then just write to them. And so that works, but I only have a limited amount of that. I cannot do that too much in a day before I just get really exhausted. And the same thing with the video editing is I just I can't do this anymore. I tried several configurations, zooming in, cutting it down to small things and trying to fit stuff in. And I found one that, I was copying what other people were doing and looking at different videos and seeing how they did it. And I found one that I like that I haven't seen anybody else do, so it'll be unique too. Anyway, but back to the thing is, I can talk a long time. So because I know the topic, so if I am tired of typing, I can simply turn on the camera and start talking. And it's the kind of topic that you can talk about, and it's not like a technical tutorial where you have a lot of code and a lot of times you just want to jump into here's an example, and you can't do that when you're filming. And I thought maybe some of them I will do on the whiteboard, because there are some pictures that I will want. But here's the thing. I'm going to turn that into a podcast, because it's mostly me talking. And so there's no reason to not turn it into some audio. I'm not really expecting people to find it super compelling, but it's a start of something. I also have the idea And I'm also often surprised at what people find compelling. It's just like my throw off ideas, you know, they somehow people like them, which is why I keep writing. But oh, there's a lot to say about that, so I'll just skim over that. But if I turn it into a podcast, and I transcribe it, so I'm not going to do the transcription myself, I'll pay someone to transcribe it, then I'll have text that can go into the book. And the book, you know, it's always easier to edit text than it is to write it the first time. And so, of course, it's going to be heavily edited because the written word is different from the spoken word. But if you have, I think I calculated it out as something like 15 hours of spoken word is a book, something like that. You know, it's some small finite number. So if I do half an hour a day, that's a month. You know, it's like not that much to get enough text to make a book. Especially, I have a bunch of notes. I did a mind map. I had it in an outline, but I don't like outlines for that kind of thing because I don't know the order stuff is going to go in, really. And to impose a hierarchy on it at this stage is too, I don't know the topic well enough. I'm sure the outline will emerge, but I just want a more free-form thing. So I turned my outline into a mind map, and that really freed me to, like, add a bunch of stuff that I don't know if it fits. I don't know if it's parallel. Like, you know, when you do bullet points, you're like, these three things have to be kind of at the same level of abstraction. But in a mind map, it's not so important. You just have boxes connected with lines, you know. And anyway, like, it's also good to have it organized like that because I start to see more patterns in it. And as I see those patterns, I can... Sorry, did this cut out? As I see more patterns, that's just more stuff to talk about and an easier way to organize the material. I think this cut out. Did it get hot being in the sun? It's a hot day today. I'll crouch over here in the shade. I think it's my phone. Okay, anyway, you might not be able to see me, but I think it's still recording. It looks frozen on mine. The thing I wanted to mention that I was skimming over, what was that? Oh yeah, there was a point where I was writing every day, and meaning I was publishing a blog post per day. And they were short, obviously, you can't go that in depth, but like just the number of topics that I had to publish on, like the more I did it, the more the topic list grew, and I could just keep going and find more and more, and people seemed to like it, you know? They were both amazed at how much I was producing, but also like, wow, this is really good stuff. And I think what happens is you just get into a mode where your thoughts are well organized, and you learn to express yourself that much better. And so even the most fleeting thought that you choose to write about has all of your background and experience built into it. That's just what happens as you get better and better at writing. And even if it's something obvious, well, I guess the thing, it's going to appeal to somebody. That's the idea. But on Friday, had lunch with my mom. We have a lunch once a month. We try to. And she was really busy. She was really busy that day, but I was telling her that I really feel like Closure Sync, I'm coming back down to earth. With Closure Sync, it was very important to market and sell tickets quickly, because obviously there's only a certain number of days that people can buy tickets before the thing happens. And so it's a very timely thing. You have to be focused at every moment, like, how many tickets am I selling? How many people know about it? Can I increase the number of people? And so it's a lot more about buzz than it is about long-term investment in content. And so I'm actually now feeling like, okay, I need to get back into this like long-term thinking, deep thought, turn off distractions, get off of social media, produce something of lasting value. And it's good. I'm feeling good about it now. Because if I had done that before, I would have felt like I'm wasting my time. There's only so limited time. I can't spend it thinking, you know. And that's good. I'm shifting stuff, in my habits over to that kind of thing. Yeah. I started working on a guide to the the closure data structures and collections in my style, and it's really cemented in me the idea that I want to be making content. Remember, I think I talked about this before, that I've been torn whether I should like find a partner to do the business stuff and the marketing and that kind of thing, and let me do the content, or whether I should find other people to do the content and be the business person. Because I feel like this is at least two people's jobs. That if I could focus on one, I could do a better job. And I definitely need more content, but I definitely need marketing. So it's something that it's an imperative, right? I have to do it. But I've decided that I want to make a machine. I want to make my business into a machine that's running around me, that lets me make content and sell, and the machine sells it, the machine promotes it, the machine makes it available to to the world, and I just produce it, I just make it. And that's where I feel I add the most value. And so anything, there's this principle in business and economics that if you are good at doing A, but you also need to do B, right? So like if you're good at like the clear example, if you're good at let's say being a doctor, right? So you're good at surgery, and so you make more money doing surgery than you do mowing your lawn. You are better off paying someone to mow your lawn for you. Now this makes, when I put it like that, it makes a lot of sense. But the principle applies even when it costs more money for them to do the mowing, right? So like, let's say you could mow the lawn for, I don't know, say your whole lawn, you could mow it for $20, but you pay a company and they do it for $100. You're still better off focusing on being a surgeon and not spending your time on mowing your lawn. So like this applies to like countries, like if you're good at you're Japan and you're good at electronics. Okay, that's the kind of a stereotypical example. And you're not as good as at agriculture because you don't have as much land as some place like China or Russia, a lot of land. Even though it's cheaper to do agriculture in your country and you're totally capable of doing it, you're better off just making more electronics and doing that and buying it from China and buying the food from China than you are doing both. So that's been my thinking is what is the thing that is more valuable for me? Is it the business stuff or is it the content? And I believe it is the content, and I actually think I'm getting good enough at it now. And it's not just producing the content, it's understanding what people need to learn and the mindset that they need to actually use the tool that I'm teaching. All of that stuff. It's not just the typing, it's not the writing. It's the whole production. Coming up with the idea of what they need. The whole making it, presenting it, that kind of thing. I'm good at that. And I'm unique too. I don't see anybody else doing what I'm doing with the whole mindset. Although I saw someone on Twitter mention that he liked me and he liked someone else because we both talked about the thinking behind it. So I'm going to check out his stuff because he might be a good person to know. Anyway, but what it's given me the hope for is that if I can turn this into a machine and I can say complete closure, which I feel like is the thing now, like I really feel like that is it has to happen. Meaning I have a comprehensive site or a comprehensive resource for learning closure. Like check there first, because that's the good one where if Eric has it, then you're good, right? That kind of place. It doesn't mean I have everything on closure, but I have covered such a broad swath of stuff that you kind of have to go to my site. Okay, so if I can do that for closure, which like I don't know why, but I have this sense that the way I was working before, where it works well if you have one or two courses, which is like, here's one topic and let's go deep on this one topic. So, for instance, like how to make a website in Clojure, right? That's something that doesn't need a whole suite of other things surrounding it, right? But once you start getting into stuff like a whole course on Clojure concurrency, like concurrency is not something that someone can just say, I'm going to do that, right? It's deeply integrated in how they architect their whole system. It's something that is like kind of background knowledge that people want to learn in addition to all the other stuff that the language provides. And since the language is providing all this other stuff, it's just the kind of thing where like I just want to be proficient in general. And so to do that, you need a comprehensive suite of stuff because just concurrency is not enough to sell. Okay, I don't know if I'm really hitting on the reasoning behind this, but I'm definitely intuiting there's something there, even if I can't explain it well. And so that is what I'm doing with Clojure, and I think that it's a good approach for the amount of stuff that I have now. That I just need to complete out everything so that when someone comes to it, like people recommend it, like, hey, if you want to learn Clojure and you're looking at videos, this is where to go. Like it's a no-brainer. Because I do have people recommending me now, which is good. I got a lot of word of mouth. Anyway, what I'm thinking though is because I'm getting so good at doing the research, that's another thing. I was at first only teaching stuff that I could just do myself, without any learning on my part, which was quite a lot. You know, I'm a professional. I've been doing this a while, and I know a lot about Clojure. And so I would just like use myself as a filter. Like I could produce it faster if I know it already. So that's what I'm going to produce, and it's stuff I'm familiar with. So I could like even make an outline right now of all the stuff you need to know. And if I need to know it as a professional, it's probably a good thing to know. So, you know, here we go. But as I've been doing more and more customer research, talking to customers and everything, I've realized that that people want this kind of comprehensive thing. And because they're always asking, what do I learn next? And it's like, you don't even know what your goals are, you know. You want to learn something next, but they just want like breadth. I want the whole thing. I want everything about Clojure, so I can give that to them. But then there's this other thing, which is like when I made the JVM course. That was really the first one where I sat down and read the JVM docs that Oracle has online, and I read, and I was like, wow, there's a lot here that people need to know. And I kind of know a lot of this implicitly that I learned in college, you know, like 100 years ago. But there's a lot I don't know that was really useful. And so I just started making notes from this documentation. And that's, you know, I presented that. And this whole idea of doing a little bit of research before, this is my point, I'm doing this research, I'm actually getting good at the research. I like it. It's not a pain. It does suck before you do the research. Like, I have no idea what to teach, right? And people are asking, like, what do I learn? Like, I don't know. But anyway, I'm doing the research, and I can do that for other languages. And I'm making enough money to finish out Clojure, you know, and that'll continue to increase. But I just think I'm creating a kind of a machine around me so that I can focus mostly on the content creation and have the other stuff just happen around me. And I'm seeing now that all these moves that I'm making that just seem like good ideas are actually related to this. So making it so that I have less software that I'm responsible for, like moving to LearnDash and migrating my the server to WP Engine. All of this stuff is just all about taking that responsibility off my plate. So I don't have to worry about the security of the server and upkeep and stuff like that. And just removing the amount of code that I have to be responsible for. That's a liability. You know, if you get LearnDash, you get support. I don't mind paying for support as long as it's good support. All of this stuff is just all about making this machine around me. And the fact that now I can find documents online about like this great post about debugging in Clojure. You know, to me that's like a great start for my course. And I was even thinking about, hey, can I just record this as a course? Like, it's so good. But then, of course, it's not my style. It is a very good document, but I think it needs to be more in my style, which is fine. I'll do that when it's time, because it's a good topic. And you know what? I'll probably skyscraper them. Anyway, it's coming up on 30 minutes. I don't even know if you're getting video now. It's still frozen on my end. And so anyway, these are my thoughts on purelyfunctional.tv, my site. And these are just documenting what I'm working on, what I'm thinking, and it also helps me in the morning figure out what I need to work on, and gives me confidence. I don't know if you know that, but these things, when I start to talk about it and realize that, wow, I do know what I'm doing, and I do have deep thoughts about what the vision is and where I'm going. So that's it, the machine, making a machine around me. I get to do the content, this machine, automate as much as possible, and I have and delegate as much as that I can't automate around it. Focus on long-term stuff. That's super important. I don't want to get into stuff like Twitter that requires a lot more of my my time. That, you know, what's the value of one tweet, right? It's not very valuable. It takes a lot of continuous effort to maintain. Whereas a good post will last for a while. You know, it could last 6 months or a year with minimal upkeep. And I mean, so that also applies to the blog. Okay, I'm going on long now. I'm going on long. We'll talk about this tomorrow. So like, subscribe, put your comments in there. I love it when I get questions live. It's awesome to find someone like who happened upon it. All right, see you later. Bye.